Good morning, Ashley. This is Professor Anderson with a little bit of feedback for your writing assignment number one, the communication inhibitors. I'm using the rubric that can be found in your assignment folder. If you click on assignments, you'll see it at the end. It's divided into 4 sections, just like the assignment parameters dictate. So each one of the sections focuses solely on one of the sections of the paper. So if I take a look at your paper, I notice the first thing, if I go to the PDF for the course, you want to make sure that you have single space and 12-point font. So when I look here, I notice you have double space. Just want to go ahead and click on the whole assignment and single space your work. The first section deals with a description of your working place or your home life, wherever it is that you're describing, and yours is your workspace. So I noticed that you're talking about your the daily functions, like how the operations of the institution takes place, and that's where the focus of your communication inhibitor will lie. However, you want to make sure that you also detail what the environment is like. Is there 500 people in your office? Are you in an urban environment? Is there construction nearby? Make sure you give as many details as possible, because often that plays into the types of barriers that are perceived and or you're confronted with in a workplace. When you go to labeling each one of these, you are giving me a brief overview of the barrier. You want to when you say organizational barrier, you want to go back to the 3 articles that are suggested. And if you say Jane, you're using Jane's article. And here's the definition of an organizational barrier, and it gives a little bit of a description. You want to mold that here in your description of these. Either one, give us brief definition in bullet point form. It doesn't have to be in complete sentences. Or 2, give a broader definition using complete sentences. Whichever method you choose, make sure that you use what's called parallel structure and that you use it for all 3 of those. Because here you're using organizational barrier twice, you want to give the definition of organizational barrier once and then select a different barrier that you encounter as your second one. In your third section, remember these 3 are: give an example with specific quotable paraphrasing, give the name of the inhibitor, and then give the reasoning why that was. So here, while you have quotes inside of it, quotes go around a very specific context of exchange between 2 people. So someone said this and someone did that. You want to give the description of what actually happened. This just tells me there is outdated equipment and that it's a physical barrier. Give an example. On a summer meeting, employees tried to exchange files, and one employee was unable to do so to the other because of outdated equipment. And then label it or organizational barrier, and then justify, because the equipment was old, the communication was stalled. So you want to describe the situation, identify the barrier, and then define the barrier. And then finally, in your analysis of the communication at your office space. So if you give it an 85%, you did a great job of labeling that in the very first sentence. You want to make sure that those inhibitors that you described are part of the reasoning of why you justified that percentage. So I hope that helped you with a little bit of feedback for writing assignment number one.